Good Friday morning. This is the Great Basin Smoke Dispersion Briefing, starting this Friday, January 27th. A look at recent precipitation the past week on the left. You can see a significant precipitation along the Sierra front and our southern areas across parts of southern Nevada, southern Utah, up the whole Wasatch chain. The dark greens to yellows indicate anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half of precipitation. Somewhat lighter across parts of Idaho, but still up there, even there, about a tenth to a quarter inch in the past week, a little bit below normal. But still, if we look on the right-hand side, the past 30 days, copious amounts of precipitation. Areas in yellow and red, anywhere from an inch and a half to 4 inches of precipitation. Sierra front, over 10 inches of precipitation. Most of everything above 5,000 feet was in the form of snow, with snowpack significantly deeper than normal in most areas. Here's a look at our satellite imagery with upper-level maps superimposed. We see a ridge of high pressure building in with warmer, drier conditions across California and into the western Great Basin. That ridge of high pressure is splitting Pacific moisture, sending a shot of it up into British Columbia, keeping some subtropical moisture suppressed down to our south and west. But in time, we'll probably start seeing some of this moisture spill into Idaho as we go later into the weekend and into early next week. But overall, with this high pressure, a drying trend, also a warming trend, also more in the way of inversions, especially across the western portion of the Great Basin. Looking at today's upper-level map, on the left-hand side, we have high pressure building into California and the western portion of the Great Basin. Still a deep low-pressure area, but with dry air to our south. We're in a cold northerly flow, although we should see a clearing trend starting today and also warmer temperatures. On the right-hand side, overall dispersion given by the ventilation index. Areas in white to yellow indicate good overall dispersion. Areas in the purple are the issues. Starting to see a little bit of purple creeping up here now across Nevada. Not too bad yet across our eastern areas. If we break that down in detail, with transport winds on the left, you can see fairly light as we go into our northern areas, but starting to pick up in our southern areas, mainly from the north and northeast across southern Nevada, Utah, and the Arizona Strip. The mixing heights, vertical mixing, again lowest in our central northern areas, but overall good in the south. So with those transport winds and those better mixing heights, dispersion in our southern areas will be the best bet. Now for Saturday, a high pressure still remains anchored almost in the same place. A disturbance clips our northern and eastern areas. On the right-hand side, dispersion again starts becoming quite poor across much of Nevada, except southern areas, moderate in most other locations. Our transport winds on the left-hand side for Saturday, again, not as strong across southern areas, but those will be our breeziest areas, along with parts of western Wyoming. You can see that mixing heights on the right-hand side across much of Nevada and far western Utah really stays fairly low, so inversions will start hanging quite a bit, which is typical as high pressure builds in over snow-covered ground. Now on Sunday, high pressure still kind of remains in control. We have some clouds spilling over the top of that high pressure ridge, and again the worst dispersion in those same areas across Nevada, and also starting to push into Idaho given the cloud cover through there and the high pressure ridging in. Best dispersion is a small area across southeastern Utah and southern Nevada. You can break that down individually. Those southern areas are where the best transport winds are and also the best vertical mixing heights. It gets progressively worse as you head further to the north. Looking at our Utah Clearing Index, which is similar to the Ventilation Index, indicates both wind and vertical transport. And you can see that the purple colors are the worst. You can see that that cover expands from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday as high pressure builds in, with poor overall dispersion in most areas except for a few ridge tops, especially in southern and eastern areas. Our 3-day precipitation, this is from Friday afternoon through Monday afternoon, very little if anything across the Great Basin as we enter a drying trend. So looking down the road for next week, on the left-hand side we see high pressure still holding in control across our southern and central areas. A bit more cloudiness spreading over the top of this ridge of high pressure given by those green areas where there could be some light precipitation. Up in the north there, it'll stir things up a little bit. Dispersion, not too bad, less in the way of purple colors, which are more prominent across parts of Nevada into parts of Utah, given by that purple shade, which is poor overall ventilation or dispersion. Now, as we go into Tuesday, you can see that more cloud cover starts pushing on in, more storminess across Idaho. So that'll be the better area of dispersion. Again, Nevada still kind of sucked in. They're the closest to the area of high pressure. And then on Wednesday, February 1st, a deep low pressure area just off the map, off the west coast, starts bucking that high pressure ridge. More clouds pushing into the Sierra and into parts of Nevada. So we start seeing a bit more improvement, especially across southern Nevada. Still questionable low dispersion across western Utah and parts of northern Nevada. And then by Thursday, as that low pressure system starts to really wind up and crank up, we see a bit more in this wave white as the better dispersion starts coming in from the south and west. The areas in purple, although still prominent, are starting to break up and at least will be more representative of low mixing heights due to cloud cover, but transport winds should be quite strong and could overcome some of that. Precipitation later next week from late Monday through late Wednesday. You can see that some of that precipitation does spill over into parts of southern and central Idaho, perhaps a quarter to a half inch in some of our areas. But by and large, most of the Great Basin stays fairly dry. So a dry period coming up the next 7 days. But beyond that, the following week, as we go from February 3rd to the 9th, those things start to change. We stay on the cooler than normal side, but on the right-hand side, there is a signal for above normal precipitation, especially for our central and northern areas. That concludes our briefing. Our next smoke briefing will be this coming Monday. Have a great day.